All right, guys, I want to really quickly introduce Alex. Alex is one of the most brilliant minds in artificial intelligence and business. He's doing a lot of work in Africa to convey and convince to African countries, leaders, businesses, corporations to incorporate artificial intelligence into what they're doing. So he runs an organization called Alliance for AI. He's a brilliant man, an amazing friend. Thank you for speaking.
Yes.
Let's rock and roll.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. All right. Okay, so like our great friend Corinne here, I hope I say your name correctly, Kriya, shared with us last night at dinner. The world is going to change in ways that we never imagined. I will start us off with a quick video, should be about 4 minutes, on Mars landing, given that Brad is a guy who's pursuing Mars. Even Korean.
I am AI.
I'll pause that and get us to about here.
Top of that, you'll do rapids. Here, you've got the DGX2.
So as he speaks, this is Jensen Huang. He is the CEO of NVIDIA Corporation. This was November last year at the supercomputing conference in Denver. It was a keynote. I was seated on the floor somewhere over there because we had to give up seats to customers. And we'd finished doing some incredible work. My team actually worked on that presentation. And very soon, he will be speaking to the audience, which is now you guys, about the latest in space exploration.
Understand what we simulated.
Let's listen.
So in this particular case, the only way to do it is to visualize it. We're going to visualize 150 terabytes of data. We're going to fly through 150 terabytes. 150 terabytes is something along the lines of 25,000 DVDs. Okay? We're going to take 25,000 DVDs, we're going to pile it all into a box, and we're going to fly through every single scene, random access. Okay? And so this next feat is something you should do at home. You just can't. All right. And so I'm going to introduce. We have a space engineer.
One of your ex-workmates
among us. Ashley, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Ashley Corzin, and I'm an aerospace engineer from NASA Langley Research Center.
She is going to she's trying to figure out how to design a lander to send us to Mars. It takes 2 years to get there. Right? You were telling me it takes like 2 years to get there. And 6 people have to live in what appears to be a condominium as they land. Now that's just the last part. Before they go, they're going to be like in a cruise ship. They're going to be discos, there'll be movie theaters, because these 6 people are going to have to live in this thing for 2 years. When they get there, they still want to be, they want to be sane enough to want to land, right? And so anyways, Ashley is working on this. All right, so tell us about this adventure. Tell you what, how about let's show it to them first?
Yeah, let's watch it.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Mars lander.
See this. What it really looks like. Yeah.
Now, Ashley, first of all, when we saw the Curiosity lander land on Mars, there wasn't a ball of fire, right?
Correct.
I mean, there was not a ball of fire. There were some parachutes, and it landed gracefully on Mars. And now we're going to put 6 people in this thing, and we're going to send them to the surface of Mars in a ball of fire.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us why we have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So in order to send humans, we're very fragile, we're very delicate creatures. We need a lot of things to keep us alive. So it's a lot more mass you need to get to the surface of Mars. So you mentioned the Curiosity rover. It's the size of a compact car. That's about as big as you can do, and no fireball. So there were parachutes deployed at supersonic conditions to touch down on the surface. When you're talking about payloads this size, this vehicle is now the size of a 2-story house. It's more than 16 meters in diameter in its largest dimension. It's absolutely massive. So you're going from roughly 12,000 miles per hour to 0 in a very precise targeted spot on the surface in less than 7 minutes. And to do that, you can't use parachutes anymore. So that's where the ability to simulate the types of physics for what will be a new deceleration technology, your fireball, really comes into play. So that's the technology change and the paradigm shift.
Does anybody know how long it takes to stop from 200 miles an hour on a car to 0? It takes some time.
Yes.
And so we're at 12,000 miles per hour.
Okay, I will pause it there. There's so much more of that video to watch. Brian and Korean, I'm sure you guys will want to see some of it. I don't know if you have any comments already. Was that surprising? Yeah. The one from Taiwan. See more of the video, right? Yeah, I know you should watch it. You should watch it later. Pretty much what happened here was that, well, literally, the day we brought Ashley into the room and showed her that this was possible, she sat on the floor and she cried. Ashley, the lady from NASA, she cried because she's reading these mathematical algorithms years ago, but it was impossible to measure it, to actually simulate it and see that it was real. Like what we're talking about here is you're trying to bring, I mean, a car is 200 miles an hour, right? How long does it take what kind of brakes do you need to stop that? But with this, is you're moving at 12,000 miles an hour, right? And still it takes 2 years to get to Mars. You watch as many episodes of Friends and Seinfeld as you can take. And it has to stop with 7 minutes, precise. Not before, not after. It has to stop exactly 7 minutes. So, and you'll be doing this because Ashley told you to work with maths she's written 2 decades ago. And so it's incredibly important to be able to simulate this and to build the technology to do that. Yeah, definitely it took a lot of effort, but it's here now. And so the likes of Mr. B, or however you guys refer to him, and Elon Musk and co can do their thing. So, as I said, the world's going to change so much in the next 5 to 10 years. I will try to share with you some trends, some ideas, some activities, and then you decide how to invest your time, your money, and your relationships. I'll switch continents now. Let's see how to do this over here. And get us doing some trivia, some fun questions. I hope you guys are ready. First question. How many billion-dollar companies are in Africa? These are questions I don't expect anyone to get right. Companies. Companies. Yeah. Yes. Government organizations count. Yeah. Yes. 150, 100. Okay. Like I came in here thinking not many people will get answers to this question because it's just far away. When I was in Spain, Barcelona, I was like more in front of them and they were close to it. But it'd be interesting. Let's see what you guys think. So 150, 100s, 5, okay, 10, 15. All right, cool. That's great. So 2 digits. Okay, I really should have come with chocolates or something. I need to throw it to like the winners. You do marshmallows, right? All right, please. Yes, I will attempt to do that. So yes, well, the answer is actually the answer for 3 to 4 years ago. So things have changed now. Is 400. Usually both of them is
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
we're about 54 countries.
Yeah, so they're mostly in South Africa, Nigeria, and several other countries. They're mostly in if you said average, but really they're really concentrated, and it's oil and gas, diamond, or banking. Banking is actually the biggest. So like the African banks are really incredible in terms of what they do. Yeah, and then in recent
Some of the most
is
innovative,
in South Africa, very innovative.
innovative financial stuff
Yeah.
is happening in Africa.
Yeah, and the different countries. Yeah, East Africa, but in 2008, like some of the banks that outdid the market were in Nigeria. Like it did really well. What's that? Yeah.
One of my investors built the largest blockchain. Yeah, I mean, hold out. No, as an example, I don't know what it's at.
Yeah, I'd love to
First place
find out more about it.
from your phone
Yeah.
was a penny.
Yeah.
So like, and like, I think it's like 25% penny of GDP goes to this.
Now it's 40% or so. Yeah. So it's incredible. Yeah. So what country ships majority of the world's Mercedes C-Class? Yeah, they ship it out because it gets assembled there and they do some stuff and they ship it out. If you have a Mercedes. South Africa?
That's like the same discuss.
You said Egypt? Okay. Okay. Anna, do you want marshmallow? Say words, say country, say names of country. Say names of countries. Where is the Mercedes shipped from in Africa?
She said Ethiopia.
Ethiopia. All right, cool. Okay, I'll move it on. Nigeria. Okay. Well, I'm cutting it off now. The answer is East London, South Africa. I'm terrible Joel. Yeah, you got one too. Yes. You got it right. So East London is well, historically one of the poorer parts of South Africa. It's a historically black village, right? But there's so much work going on there now in the last 10 years. One of my mentors, they've installed like undersea cables to have a port in the village. A startup hub is building out, and then Mercedes has plants there, and all their C classes are being assembled over there. And then the last question here is, what country has the third largest film industry?
I know Bollywood is the biggest one.
Yeah. Yes.
And then Hollywood. And then Nollywood, probably Nigeria.
That's a guess.
I also named it.
That is a guess. Ali, what do you think? Ellie, what do you think? You're googling? China. Okay. All right. Cool.
Nigeria. In South Africa. Nigeria. Boom.
Nigeria. So yeah, no. Nigeria.
Boom. It's not Nollywood, right?
Yeah, Nollywood. So like, no, you said it. Okay. Yeah. So although, so like, yeah, the Nigerian movie industry is incredibly huge forever. In terms of volume of movies produced and shipped, truly incredible. In terms of quality, South Africa has a group called National Film NFBC, something like that. So they're buying all this equipment now to make, like, you know, some Hollywood movies are being made in South Africa now, just like you have them in Vancouver and Canada. They're doing a bunch in South Africa to save money and stuff. So pretty interesting stuff. But cool. I watched Bollywood movies growing up. My mom's culture is big on India. So like, yeah, so like Kepi, Sholay, I watch all that stuff growing up. But all right, cool. Great. He's huge. He's huge. It was funny. It was funny. But all right, that's some trivia just to lighten the mood and get us into the vibe of the day. Let's see what I have as the next slide. I don't even remember it. All right, it's a philosophical one that you know, Laurie and I spoke about yesterday, which was, you know, where perceptions differ from reality, opportunity brews. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I wish Jonathan was here. He had thoughts as well. Does that statement mean anything to you? It'd be great if you could share a story. As you do that, I'll eat a marshmallow.
I don't want to share it.
Okay.
I still buy into what's over there. There's stuff going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say what, but I think that's a huge opportunity for arbitrage.
Yeah.
Exactly. What about arbitrage? Precisely.
Well, I mean, a good example is like, The Economist came out that the cover is in the hopeless continent way back when.
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah.
And it was like at the start of this like 8-year bull market of like stock growth, economic growth, and from the point at which the Economist came out.
Wrote the article. Yeah.
To like the financial crisis.
Yeah. Yeah. And then right afterwards, McKinsey wrote an article that said Africa Rising, which was around 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
I think last year the partner Achaleke, he's from Cameroon, he wrote another one. So yeah, it's a lot of movement. Arbitrage. The media is selling something interesting. But then I'll share with you some of the slides I share with some of our students because we do some teaching. And we like to do a lot of talk about history. We share with them stuff that they never see in their classrooms. That's just been removed from there, and they really love seeing this, right? On the screen, you'll see where we've put together a list of. I had a philosophical question for you, Jonathan. You weren't here. It's all good. So yeah, just talking about some contributions of the continent. Welcome to the house. How are you?
He is officially COVID-free.
Woo!
So, you want to sit right there? Sure.
Cool. Well, cheers. So yes, like I was saying, some of this is news. In fact, most of this is news to most people, especially Africans themselves. They don't get to hear about these things, and so I share it with them, and I'm sharing it with you guys. In terms of like, as far as history is concerned, a lot of these countries played a serious role in these innovations before the 1400s, right? Talking about metallurgy, iron casting, cosmology, studying of the stars. There's a group from Mali that knew about the Sirius star system thousands of years ago, and they built it into their culture. Like, it's really incredible and almost sad because we don't know how they figured these things out, right? It's just like nobody knows how they built the pyramids. There's just so much of this stuff that we don't know how it happened. And because a lot of it has been burnt down, it's hard to figure it out. Like, I feel like if we looked harder, there's just great things that we could discover and leverage even today. In terms of mathematics, in Uganda, there's some multiplication table that they used to do on this like bones that were there 2,000 years ago. Medicine, that was really incredible. The cesarean section, there's a practice in Uganda where they're able to safely operate a woman. There was a British doctor person who witnessed this sometime in the 19th century and then told the story. And then it became a valid story after he shared that. And the ones I'm most excited about are like in terms of language and intercontinental discovery. In terms of language, has anyone heard the word Nubia?
No.
Yeah, Nubian princess.
You will get Nubian princess, of course. So Nubia, it's a group that it's gone. No one talks about it anymore. It's like Sudan, modern day Sudan used to have the Nubians, and parts of the Nubians were a group called Kush, right? Kush. The Kush met your people, and they fought many times. So the Kushites were the fiercest army from Africa. They won tons of battles. The Romans tried many times. They defeated them. They defeated Egypt. And they were the one group in history that went and defeated another group and didn't stay there to just take over. They went back home. Like, they weren't trying to. They just wanted to stay in their home and protect it. It was a mistake in the long term because they kept doing that, and it's just a different. Their thing was archery. They were like some of the best archers of all time. and it was incredible. And then, of course, intercontinental discovery. There were folks who traveled out of Mali and discovered the United States, or before it was the United States. No, it was 100 years. Yeah, it was 100 years before he did, and they went around the world and tended to go back home afterwards. Like Brian said, was it a mistake or not? I don't know what to do with the future. We'll see. So those are the contributions of the past. I am focused on the contributions of today with my organization, and these are a few of the folks I've, been honored to work with. The first one is what, you were talking about, M-Pesa. M-Pesa was like one of the first mobile banking platforms in the world, and it was after this happened, it's incredible to then see the future, iterations on this technology in China and India and some other parts of the world. But in terms of their country today, through text message, completely on text messaging, no internet or nothing, just through text messaging, about 40% worth of transaction, 40% of their GDP's worth of transaction goes through this platform, right? So it's huge, and we've done lots of case studies on it in business school to understand why and how that happened. So that's that piece. Tambua Health, some folks I started to talk with last year. It was funny when the CEO mentioned, I tell the story a lot. He was like, in Kenya, it costs the price of an MRI, right? I don't know if you're familiar with MRI machines, right? So medical imaging. It costs 4 times as much to buy an MRI as it costs to build a clinic in Kenya. And so that's just flipping crazy, right? When you think about just cost of capital and how you do that in the country. And so it's rare you find an MRI machine in a hospital over there because it's just way too expensive. And so these guys started off with a cell phone, right? They would put it on, they would take a cell phone, you put it on the back of a patient, it would capture sound waves from the lungs and transform them into vision, an image that a medical practitioner could look at that is, of course, a lot cheaper. They've now since progressed to that jacket thing that you can now have on babies and people and use that to capture medical imaging. So that's innovation that comes out of, I say, necessity. They needed to get healed. They've learned all this stuff about AI and they're using it to build solutions that eventually make their way to San Francisco and become part of billion-dollar companies. So it's very interesting. The last one there is Complete Farmer. I met him 2 years ago as well. He's from Ghana. Right now, today we're just talking about the data points they collect from the soil, from the farms. They collect about 36 data points. They mix 36, right? Kind of similar type of talk that Brian does in terms of the data points you collect, right? So it's like the color of the leaves to the acidity of the soil to the temperature and humidity. And with all those data points, we're thinking through how do you engineer plants and food for different health conditions. For example, tomatoes that can help with hypertension or what's it called? Forget the disease now, but yeah, that's what we're thinking about. And they actually are applying to one of the X Prize slots. There's an AI for food, future of food thing. So they're applying to that piece. So these are the contributions today that I am mad interested in and work on. And with all I've just shown, I want to ask a question. Well, why do you think the media chooses to tell the other story? The stories that we know. Any answers? Beyond that.
So that helps, what's that?
It makes it easy.
What's the economy called that's after like a disaster, whatever, can you inject capital in, which is
Disaster capitalism.
yeah, that's capital.
It's a lot easier to say that we are better or they're worse, but it's okay for our economy to take resources from them without paying the proper amounts, or to treat countries there with respect, because it's much easier to say, oh, they're not as advanced as us, they're not as good as us, so we can look down on them and it's okay.
Yes. Any other points of view?
I think it's just
Yeah.
easy story.
Yeah, it's an easy story. It's stupidity. I don't know. It's stupidity. It's like it's the greatest story ever told. When I think of it objectively, I think it's the greatest story ever told. It was very strategically done. It's incredibly effective. It's worked for 500 years. Continues to work for God knows how long. And I will do all I can to stop it. But yeah, it continues. The answer is in the sky. It's golden. It was gold. The story started in the 1450s when they showed up, saw Mali, Mansa Musa was there, balling around. Possibly heard the name Mansa Musa. I don't know if you have. Richest man ever on the planet. Equivalent of $400 billion at the time of gold. He traveled around the world, giving away gold to people. This was literally 1430s. It's not that long ago. Giving away all his gold, and he caused like a depression because of that. Because he would give gold to peasants, and then they'll quit their jobs, and then they were, this is when he took from Mali, he took the desert and went on to Hajj, right, to Saudi Arabia, or on his pilgrimage, and he caused a whole depression on that path. And when he was coming back, he apologized to people and gave more gold. He wrote it. I'm so sorry. Here you go. And he just kept doing that. And telling this story was the easiest way to get the gold and get the people to build the new world that Columbus had found. And it's a very effective story and continues to be alive. What's that? FX wait? Oh, why wait? Why wait? Oh, he supports America, right? It's completely fine.
I'm just trolling.
It's completely fine. We talked about it earlier today as well. It's completely fine. It's completely fine. But yeah, that was it. The world felt it made sense to tell that story. The world still feels it makes sense to tell the story. But I'm saying for the future, it doesn't anymore. There are other ways to make progress together and continue to tell this story.
There was
I saw that.
And I saw that. And so a friend of mine commented back, she's a little conservative and working State Department and stuff like that, so she should have, but oh, come on, there's no comparison. What are you talking about? And I said, well, actually, they can handle their pandemics a lot better.
Yeah.
She didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, to your point, there's a comfort in, white exceptionalism, not just in America.
Yeah.
It's because that politicized medicine in Africa, they have over-the-counter medicine that the liberals of the party will not allow that to happen. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
The chloroquine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's take it back to Alex. Alex?
I'll just allow you. Where's that? Yeah.
I have an additional example. So I
Yeah.
read this book by Mark Meredith that I bought it in South Africa called The State of Africa. And actually, I read it as I was backpacking in Scotland. Phenomenal book, basically lays out like the history of Africa really, really well. Come back to the States, and I'm like, I wonder if they have the book here. And I look it up, and The State of Africa, in America, it's called The Fate of Africa. Think about the nuance of this one word, how that changes the think of one word.
Yeah, FAT, where it's gotta go. Yeah, very interesting. Well, we enter the age of personalization, the age where humans become God. I don't know how you feel about me saying that. Yeah, you. Yes. The age of personalization, where we're personalizing experiences, personalizing everything. We're starting to do things that only God could 500 years ago. We're starting to create food, create maybe people soon. Right? Genomics. I'm happy about genomics. Yes, it's aiding drug discovery. It's making it a lot cheaper to discover drugs. I hope we discover drugs for the coronavirus very quickly so we can get back to our lives. And it's shortening the time by 2 years. This, in addition to many other things that make genomics happen, like the scientific simulations helping able to happen faster. There's so much more on personalization, including obviously autonomous cars and so much great stuff is going on. But on the flip side, on the other side of this, now that you have people creating like other people's fates, right? They're choosing to not create something, right? Only 2% of the data that you use for the world's genomics today, 2% of it consists of Black people. And that's going to do something.
What percentage
of this?
Of the world population is?
20%. And that grows by 2030 to closer to 50%.
What?
Closer to 50%.
50% of the world population.
The youth. Yeah,
That's
the youth.
true. That's true.
Yeah, so it's growing crazy, but then only 2% of
And the vast majority of those people supposed to be like younger than 30 or something.
yes, in about I don't know if this is still correct, about 1,000 days there will be 1 billion Africans in the workforce.
The workforce.
Yes, well, old enough to be in the workforce, but the issue is they're not getting trained to be in the workforce. Hence, you need Ahura AI. What did you say?
Out of the population.
Out of the population at that time of it should be about 1.6 billion
By 2034.
by 2034. Yeah, 2034. But you keep it simple, I say 2030.
Hey, how do we pull that data?
McKinsey.
And right now, it's just over 2 million.
Yeah, it's 1 billion right now, and then 200, 300 million people outside of that.
6 billion
Yeah.
in 14 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 60% increase.
You should tell them to stop producing. That's what he was talking about today.
The correlation, I think most people, between education levels and prosperity and birth rates.
So that's why my silver bullet is educate the woman. Female empowerment is the silver bullet, in my view. It does many things. It stops population growth. It increases the strength of the workforce. It diversifies the strength of the work. It does so much. So I am anti-feminist feminism.
That's why we're partnering on providing especially women in Africa.
Yeah.
With LGK. With LGK.
No, I don't.
Ahura AI. He's helping. Ahura AI. So this phenomenon, right? I'm just leading with like saying, Africans and Black people, but it really does affect every underrepresented group. And the second highest percentage in that space is women. Women are not involved in this kind of work of personalization, right? It's a mistake the world is making that they never really realized until it's late. I mean, the same thing happened when cars were being developed, right? The seatbelt testing, it wasn't done. I don't know if you guys have seen these studies before. At the beginning, women weren't involved in this testing, and so eventually when cars would hit people, women would suffer more from accidents.
Would you say that a population that we most generally wealthy, more likely to be
It's white and Chinese men.
But just to abstract it a little bit, like
It's the people at the table. It's the people. It all comes down to: are you at the table when gods are deciding how the future should look?
oh, so
And when you're deciding who you're going to test it on, and you build the population.
Yeah.
yeah, my thinking is that basically the people who have immediate access to the new technology, so generally the leaders and everything, and then people who have the wealth and the get there.
Yes, you just have to be at the table, because like the other folks today, they keep their their arguments and their fight at the point of, oh, which our data should be involved. It's not just the data. Like, you really need to be there at the table, thinking about the algorithms.
Can you go back a little bit? Like, what is this table? And how do you
Yeah, yeah. I speak. I speak. Yeah, this one is a very important table. Right now, I'm not there. This pair of scissors is there. It gets more than I do. No, I speak metaphorically about the global innovation table, right? Folks, the global innovation table. So it's the Googles, Microsoft, the Alibaba, the Tencent, Baidu, the 10 companies of the world today. They are driving where this all goes. Not the governments, they drive the governments. And yeah, they don't care about much. We have tried to talk to them many times, and well, I guess I don't see why they should care. I've lost hope in I don't know, moral world. I think you have to appeal to what appeals to people. So that's what's happening. And so my drive is well, I say when you talk about ethics in AI, it's really about choice, choosing. Like AI and every innovation that comes after it. AI is not the last thing. There's going to be more. It's all a choice. What do you choose to do with it? What do you choose to do with it, and for whom? For everyone, or just for you? What do you choose to do with it? And so that's an answer everyone needs to make for themselves. And so I thought I'd lighten the mood a little bit with this photograph I found today. And yes, for the things we'll lose and the things we'll gain, I choose to change the narrative for the marginalized. And so that's what I dedicate my life to. Woo! Yes, and that's I wish that was me. It's not me, I wish it was. But yeah. I would love that. So that's what I decided to do. I'll show you this video real quick. I should have yeah. Yeah, you want to take a picture of it? Yeah, and like I say, right, for the things we'll lose and the things we'll gain, I think that's a very important. In fact, matter of fact, as you listen to this, like, do you think of anything that we'll lose if this progression continues the way it is?
I think what would we lose if the progression continues?
Yeah.
People?
Yeah.
Diversity, we lose sovereignty, we lose freedom,
Yeah.
progressiveness, lots of things.
There will be progress.
No, like we're limiting,
What did you say, Jeff?
I guess it's
Bad
also-
progress?
it's also
Depends on
how you
who's saying.
Yeah, it's also how you define diversity, right? Because let's say it does coagulate to like white and Chinese, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't the diversity also blend into like this artificial space, right? That gets into like normal.
Other types of diversity?
Yeah, other types of diversity.
Yeah. The world's going to change in ways we didn't think possible, like he said. So there are things happening and it's moving in very interesting spaces. But what you're describing, you also realize you're describing that 2 billion people will die. But it's good to recognize that.
Or will we be born into AI? I don't know what I believe here, but
yeah, it's good to happen. Dataism is coming. And yeah, and then,
I'm sorry, I'm being really simple-minded. I don't understand what all this.
yes, very simple examples I used to scare people, so I should scare you a little bit. Well, the drugs, right? 2%, like 2% of the genes are involved in making drugs of the future. It means that for people who are involved in that thing, right, the drugs won't work for them. That's the future we're going into. So when we come up with the cure for cancer, it's not going to work for Black people, Hispanic folks, most women, until women fight their way. Women are closest to fighting against this. I mean, the men need the women too, so like they have to save them at least. The drugs won't work. When you think about autonomous cars,
Is there some game?
it's not a zero-sum game. It's right now it's a capitalistic economic game where there's just a focus on getting there first, without recognizing that it's not equitable.
But it's more profitable to make drugs for white people who pay in the United States.
That's what is happening, and that's the only focus. It's just a narrow focus.
If you had the testing for COVID vaccine, what happened in Africa? Right, that happened.
Who funds it?
It funds the cure for cancer.
So yeah. So then to that point, that's where it's different it's different where you innovate from. There is a concept of frugal innovation that the rest of the world practices. Like you literally go on a whiteboard and you figure out what do I have in front of me? I'm going to use it to innovate. Right? In San Francisco, you have $100 million, and you're going to make something that costs $100 million. In Colombia or Indonesia or in Rwanda, you'll make something that costs much cheaper. Like the jacket thing I talked about before, that thing in the middle, right? That thing is hundreds of times cheaper than an MRI machine, but does the same thing. So there are other ways. So that is what we lose.
Is that capable of solving more problems?
Yes.
Oh, otherwise.
I think all humans are. I think my core beliefs philosophically is that we all humans have experienced the planet differently, and we bring something different to the table.
Can I pause and be a little less subtle and more aggressive?
Yeah.
We spent the last 400 years raping Africa of natural resources, labor, intelligence, and a lot of other things. And so we have a responsibility to make sure we're as we're innovating off of the backs of all of the wealth that we stole. We have a responsibility to make sure we take them into account when we're building artificial intelligence and other systems.
Well, it sounds nice. It's a nice thing to say. But it's a nice thing to say. But I've just been so exposed to these people that I don't hope at the top that.
I think the way you say it's probably a lot more effective than the way I say it.
No, yeah. No, you're saying you're appealing to the human being. You're appealing to what we think human beings are.
Well, why did you come here, Alex? Why did you come here? That's the problem. Take Alex. I'm just curious. Like, how do we?
No, you didn't take Alex from Nigeria. Alex is a global citizen of the world. Like I'm everywhere.
Quote.
What do I call home? I'm everywhere. Yeah. I don't even say I'm from Nigeria. Like when people ask me, like, it was funny. Last April, there was a round table, and we're like speaking to the African Union and talking about stuff, right? And we're like, oh, where you from? And I was like, I am Pan-African. I can't say where I'm from. But then I end up giving a gift, a shirt, to the Minister of ICT from South Africa, and then someone stands and says, "We have diagnosed you Nigerian." That was messed up because I was offering a bribe to this woman. I was just kidding, like, yeah, it was a shirt. It wasn't a bribe. But it was like, oh, it was Alliance for AI shirt. Yeah.
You just thought that's what you were being told.
I was just being nice. I was just being nice. And the guy was like, yeah, you're offering gifts in public. You must be Nigerian. I was like, I guess I can hide it. Yeah.
I have a story some of you might find me. Last December, I lived in Portugal.
God. Yeah.
So until last December, my family, we lived in Portugal for a year. And one of that is weird because like we don't work. And Portugal, people know the history, association with Africa, Brazil. That history kind of parallels at this North America. And as late as like 1961, Portuguese press freedom movement, I think it was Angola.
Yes.
As a type of poetry that it was that recent. 1975, Portugal freed from the 40.
Yeah.
And what's happened since Portugal has become one of the first countries in Europe, and it's not one of the innovation centers. They're a big part of the European Union. Save them,
Yeah.
new freeways, and it's just but where they really do that. So what's happened now is that they are, and they got beaten down really hard in 2008 downturn. Auction values collapsed 80% after that. So what's happened since is that the economy has recovered by Portugal reaching out to foreigners. You have $500,000, buy some real estate, you have residency, and you can apply for citizenship. Or it's a Chinese. They have a tax treaty for Americans like me. They recovered part of their banking system. So they have discovered gas and oil in Angola and Mozambique. I think Mozambique is the number 5, 5th largest gas station. The daughter of the former dictator of Mozambique has a personal fortune of $5 billion. And there is a building in Lisbon, actually Cascais for in Malabasa, on the water. Modernistic building, not particularly interesting, but they call it the Angolan building. Because it's filled with Angolans. Yeah, Mozambicans, Brazilians, who have stolen money from all these places. Like Portugal is the closest connection to Europe is the Portuguese. And a lot of these folks have gone to the Portuguese banks under somewhere between $300 to $700 billion to the Portuguese banks who are on it now 10 years ago. Yeah. So the deal came about where the Portuguese masters, and there's still a lot of institutionalized racism in Europe and Brazil. I mean, and in many ways, they're actually much more enlightened also. I mean, it's sort of contradiction stories. So you have these Portuguese who are on the backs. You have these suddenly wealthy former colonial subjects going to town when you need money, and we have this money, we will provide tens of billions of dollars in liquidity. They got, if you may recall, a $90 billion bailout by the EU during the downturn. It was really bad. Austerity was horrible. Their faith was saved by this newfound oil wealth. And so you have the Portuguese bankers so asked to the new, and they treated them very badly.
They treat them very badly. Interesting.
The rich Angolan that show up in Lisbon. Yeah. They talk, and I don't know enough to get. They talk out to them.
Yeah.
Right. To the Portuguese like help now. That's opening the doors for them, and driving their taxis, serving them food, and it's not so.
Yeah, money rules, right? Money rules, and it's interesting. Portugal, the history of Portugal is extensive. Yeah, all the way back to the days of them trying to conquer Morocco. I don't know if people know the story. Morocco whooped their ass. It was crazy. Like killed like the whole the king was pompous. He came with his entire everybody to Morocco to come fight, and they got leveled. It was an interesting time too. It was a very pivotal time for Africa because after Morocco won that battle in about 1450, 1460, they got guns. Right, guns coming from China, right, where it started. The Moroccans got guns after winning that battle, and then they turned around and crossed the desert and went to destroy Timbuktu. That was the beginning of the fall of Africa. It was that battle, literally. Yeah, they went there with guns. Timbuktu had like the strongest army at the time, and also the world's first library was there. this incredible civilization of people. The Song Empire is what it was called. And then they came in with these guns, which were superior to all the warriors they had, and leveled it. And that was beginning of the end. That was like the biggest group that could like have stood up against foreign influence. And then since then, it was just like come in and take what you want. And it's very interesting. But yes, I will continue. I have just a few slides to go. I should show this to you. After, I mean, I think that's a fitting video after this picture. It says, what future do you see? It's a 2-minute video. 3.
Close your eyes. Open them. What do you see? Do you see despair, or do you see beauty and hope? What do I see? I see the future. I see almost 1 billion young people, and I see them playing a huge part in the next technological revolution, the 4th industrial revolution.
4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. This year alone, SpaceX will make more rocket engines than the rest of U.S. production combined.
Now let's talk about iOS. Yes, it's iOS 13. The world's most powerful mobile operating system.
Self-driving car technology that sounded like science fiction just a couple of years ago is now a reality.
Imagine Africans being masters of industry. Do you see it too? You probably don't. Honestly, we still have basic problems to settle.
Now, many African countries are regularly troubled with moderate to severe power outages.
I think Africa's infrastructure deficit is approximately $90 billion every year for the next decade.
Africa needs infrastructure.
But what if we decide to see technology, artificial intelligence specifically, as a way to solve basic problems more efficiently? Look at my good friend Charles. He's always been passionate about tackling birth asphyxia. He built Ubenwa, an AI mobile app that helps to diagnose birth asphyxia in 10 seconds. Or Rita and Paris, who grew up around smallholder farms that struggle to get loans from banks. They built Farm Drive in Kenya to help smallholder farmers obtain great credit scores, all from a mobile application. Or Desmond, who just wants to feed the world from Africa. His complete farmer app uses AI to detect pests and diseases early and even allow anyone to invest and manage their own farm from a laptop. How about these solutions to our basic problems, huh? Are you seeing what I'm seeing yet?
It's now or never, Africa. We invariably missed out on the first 3 industrial revolutions. We can't gamble with the 4th one. We shouldn't. Artificial intelligence is not an afterthought. It's a workable solution to our most important problems and an enabler for our bright future.
Close your eyes again. I hope you see it now.
Yes. Well, to close out, this is our organization. It's a nonprofit. We have about 10 programs catering to learners, people who are learning, builders who are building solutions, startups, companies doing corporate innovation, and storytellers, right? On the storyteller bucket, we work with governments to help them think through their AI strategy, how they can use it for development, using it in a different way in an African context. We just got invited to Smart Africa Initiative, pretty decent group, 10 African presidents, along with public-private partners who are thinking and shaping the continent's digital future. That's pretty interesting. The second one, on the builder side, we have a virtual accelerator for the top companies. It's pretty much a pilot thing we built over the last year, and now we're looking to scale it out. So we're applying for grants, try to grow that piece and get more companies into the virtual accelerator. And the final one, in terms of learning, we're providing means for people to be better lifelong learners and be ready for the world of tomorrow, right? Post-COVID-19 AI era, how do we prepare them for that? And this is, we have solutions for the privileged and the not so privileged, and this is where Brian comes in. We're working together to try to bring some of his technology to Kenya, Tanzania, and possibly Congo as well, and to get folks learning 3 to 5 times faster. Outside of that, we have a guide that will provide for people anywhere in a school, in a church, in a mosque, to create future of work clubs and go there to learn about their history, learn about the tools they can use to build the future, and find a purpose of things they can work on. And
Future work clubs.
yes,
Like little girls.
yeah, future of work FOW club, AI FOW clubs. And so, well, this is the last slide. This is AI 2.0. When we get there, it's right now we're sort of with the accelerator of building a portfolio of companies that are doing incredible things, that are getting into Y Combinator and just raising tons of money. And we're meeting them when they're like 2 to 6 months old. Super simple place to place a lot of money. Hence, a couple of friends are trying to raise a fund. I'll probably be one of them. So that's that piece. And then on the talent hub is what I'm more excited about, is what I call like the Professor X hat. I would like to have a tool where I can just find any ex-woman or ex-man or any tool, any challenge that pops up, like COVID-19. It's like, who are the best 4 or 5 people who can work on this problem? I will find them.
Alex Smith, right?
X-Men.
Alex, right? So yes, that's the talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was amazing. Well done.
Very much.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing your expertise and knowledge.
Yeah, thank you. I would say open for questions, but we've asked all the questions, I think.
No. Do you, is there a way for you to have the knowledge share that could be available from this alliance and story? Are you guys able to disseminate that from the actual story?
Yes. On the webpage, it describes itself as being for first the global African. There's 1.3 billion people, and the underrepresented. Any group that's underrepresented. Like, we're building tools. We're not writing black on the tools. It's literally tools that are self-help tools. If your school doesn't have AI getting taught there, you're not learning about your history. You're not learning about yourself. We try to help you get there. Right, and so I can totally see this applying to Colombia, Brazil, parts of Asia. Yeah, when we get there, it all depends on partners and people who want to like take it from one place to the other. Yeah, well, what I'm hoping for here is that table I spoke about. Like, I think all parts of the world. I am actually. Yeah. I was like, all right, Jensen Huang and Bezos and Co. You don't want us on your table. We'll build another one, but this will. We'll have more people on it.
Awesome.
Instead of building walls, building a longer table.
Yeah. Great. We're excited for you to join us on this hike right now. Shit.
We're all just on this hike right now.
So we're just going to close off. Does Anita have questions?
Yes, everyone. Let's go. We got this.